I mean, the odds of this are like, I don't know, 1%, 2% that this could happen. But let me just say this, okay? So I've been thinking a lot about the Doom twist, the Doctor Doom thing. And I've been thinking a lot about how Marvel's seemingly hiding that. I mean, if that is actually what it is, if they're actually going to do that retcon, right? There's some scoopers and insiders out there that have incredible sources that are being told that is not true. And the more I think about that, I'm like, wow, this is actually like a really clever way to hide the truth from even the scoopers, because like they could make a movie that's plot is so close to what they're actually saying it is, that so much evidence would align to convince these folks that that's what it actually was, that they wouldn't look past that possibility. I don't know if what I'm saying even makes sense. Like, I hope you're hearing what I'm saying here. But I was like, damn, like, dude, that's a very sophisticated and very clever way to hide the truth. And Marvel has really never been that far ahead. But I'm reminded of some things that the Russos said when they were talking about spoilers, and like people kind of accused them of like, well, they didn't accuse them. They just kind of said like, hey, how are you going to stop leaks, I think. And they've said they had some interesting ways to do that. Okay. And we know, I really need, you guys got to walk with me on this. This is kind of fun, but again, I'm doing my thing up here. I don't know if it's real, but just walk with me, okay? We also know that the Russos didn't just like show up to work for Doomsday, like out of nowhere. No, in fact, they were watching cuts and giving advice on movies for like the last year at least, maybe more. There's a story about how they had a producer credit on Captain America. I don't know if it ever stayed or if it was removed or whatever, but I think that was sort of a fallout of them coming in and the company really merging back with Marvel and them joining Parliament. So the fact that they've joined Parliament means, and they're sticking around after Secret Wars, it means like they now are a part of the entire machine. And the reason I bring that up is like, look, we have incredible scoopers and insiders out there. And one of the best ones, one of the guys that I talk about a lot is Alex Perez. And Alex Perez got tricked when it came to Deadpool and Wolverine by a fake script. Okay, this was when Alex said that there was going to be a fight with Jean Grey and the Scarlet Witch, stuff with Magneto, all this other stuff. Now, by the way, Alex claims that that was potentially going to be in there and maybe was removed, but he also talked about this fake script. And what you have to realize about that is this wasn't one of the best scoopers in the game going to a different source and getting bad information. That's not what happened. What happened, most likely what happened, was the man's already established sources gave him a fake script. So what that means is Marvel's out here putting stuff through normal channels that is not real. Are you following me? Are you picking up what I'm setting down? An extension of this thinking would be to create plots and designs and storyboards and even previs for concepts that were so close to what the actual hidden truth was that there would, again, be enough evidence to support that being all there was to it. And yet, you could hide the true story because, like, let's talk about Jean Grey. Sadie Sink, of course, the first scoop that came out about her was from Jeff Snyder, who is incredibly reliable. And Jeff said that she was going to be the new Jean Grey, or that she was rather being looked at to be the new Jean Grey. Okay? And then all of a sudden, she gets cast for Spider-Man. And now we know she's cast in Spider-Man and she's going to be in Secret Wars, which I think a lot of us sort of made the connection to the comments made by Kevin Feige about how you would start to see a lot more X-Men pop up in the next few films. And he also talked about how the story of the mutants in the next saga was going to be set up in Doomsday and Secret Wars. That was like an intentional thing that he said. And we've always kind of like been looking for evidence of that, and we haven't really been able to find too much of it. I think I see a lot of it now, but more to the point, if she's in Spider-Man Brand New Day and she's in Secret Wars and she's working for Doctor Doom and she is the multiverse and she's going to have a domain in Secret Wars, Marvel could be saying she's Shithara. Marvel could say she is the Spider Queen. Marvel could say she's the Goblin Queen. Marvel could say all of these different things, and they could build up the story, costumes, scripts, everything for it. And then in a few lines of dialogue, just a few, they could actually fully explain that she was actually a Jean Grey variant the whole time. And because the story involves deception, the plot could be deceptive. Doesn't this make sense? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Is this like, does this sound like gibberish? Is anybody following? Is anybody following what I'm saying? Okay. No. Okay. God damn it. Yeah. I it's kind of a hard concept to grasp. But it's a very clever way to potentially hide the truth here. And so, look, when people will say to me, because Alex is incredible, right? Like, he's very good. And people will bring up like, dude, Alex said it's not Jean. Well, all that means is that he was told it's not Jean. Do you understand the difference? Think about all the other things that he's saying that are probably accurate, potentially accurate. Even the Jean thing is probably accurate, but like, just understand what's actually happening. And I just, look, that would be so 60 chess. That would be like very big brain. That would be crazy. But it's possible. And so that's my cope. That's my sort of crazy explanation for why I still think it's Jean Grey. I'll never let go, Jack. You know what I mean? Like, I'll never let go. Okay, and then let's see what you guys think about this. What if she's the Jean variant that Doom sent to 616 to wipe out their mutants, Miss Marvel, etc., so that in Doomsday, no mutants would side with the X-Men? So, okay, I'll connect this to another thing that I've heard. Another thing that I've heard, and we sort of talked about this yesterday, is that maybe the X-Men from Universe 10005 will attack 616 first and potentially attack some major cities in 616 to try to destabilize them. And they're being put up to do that by Doctor Doom. Could that potentially connect to a Jean Grey coming in at the same time to occupy and cause chaos in one of the biggest cities, New York City? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that is kind of an interesting possibility there, right? So, Buffer Overrun says, I'm close used to believing she is Julia Carpenter. She was introduced in the OG shooter Secret Wars. Well, all I can say about that is it's interesting that Marvel's done a good enough job of keeping it super vague and allowing maybe even other potential fake things to come out, because I can understand why you think that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that, but I can understand why you think that. I wish they would just make the High Evolutionary a Kang variant. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. I like the High Evolutionary a lot. It does kind of seem like he was maybe a one and done, right? But yeah. You've been watching too much Ancient Aliens? Oh, brother, I watch way crazier shit than Ancient Aliens. I watch dry-ass podcasts where dudes break down declassified documents about, like, gateways to other dimensions. Parker Thrift says, risky play by Marvel, keeping fans hooked on fake scoops without making them sound better than the real thing would be tricky. It would be quite tricky, wouldn't it, Parker Thwips? Always good to see you, brother. Steve McTee says, Josh, if she's Jean, they really wouldn't want it on the front street. Jeff even said the villain is an older actress. Jeff knows Sue. Yeah, I mean, the Snyder aspect of this story is one of the most interesting parts of it. I think it's why people still believe Gene. There's other reasons that I think so, as I've laid out for you here. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that without that report, I think we all just go along with what's going on, which is interesting because we know that Jeff had the RDJ as Doom thing, and his Marvel sources lied to him. Well, what do you think they're doing to other people? They're going to lie to Jeff Snyder, but they're not going to lie to maybe Alex Perez. They're not going to lie to Charles Murphy. They're not going to lie to Daniel RPK. I mean, I think we have to accept that Disney is, and it's really Marvel, has changed the way they're approaching content, journalism, information, all sorts of stuff, right? So I think they're basically just lying to everybody. So, do you think do you watch the Y-Files because you like the government stuff? Yeah, absolutely. I think his stuff is incredible. I admire his work from a content creator perspective. It's just so polished. The storytelling is so intriguing. He really does a great job of like bringing you along, and he's an incredible storyteller. But also, like, I like the information that it feels like he's kind of disseminating. There's a gnosis there between the lines that I think is really cool. Another hot take, Josh. Let me double it. The Fox X-Men movies are so... Wait, what the fuck? They're so bad. I don't get why Marvel keeps spamming with all the multiversal movies and bringing the so-called iconic castings. Damn. Okay. Well, I guess good for you for taking it to the absolute fucking extreme. But that's crazy. I love those movies. Dude, are you kidding me? Also, though, if you don't ever want to watch those movies and you want to maybe understand them from the perspective of Doom when we get closer to Doomsday and Secret Wars, I got some videos on the way for you. So don't worry. I believe there is an Avengers lineup in the X-Men universe, and Binary is a part of it. So it's possible, man. It's possible. I've been told conflicting things about this. I've been told yes and then no, and I don't know what to make of it. I'm leaning towards no. I mean, obviously, Binary's there, and there are other heroes. But do we know that the Avengers were ever a thing in 838? Because I don't think they were. Like, I think it was just the Illuminati. Stephen comes in like, I don't know, 4 to 12 years early in 838, and therefore the Illuminati is formed, as opposed to the Avengers. Can the events of Secret Wars have an effect on the portal of convexity, thus breaking the omniverse and bringing in other IP to the new MCU to deal with? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if that's going to be that would be the opportunity to do that. And it's funny you mentioned that because, look, there's been some discussion, and we really don't know what's going on with Gunn and Warner Brothers and everything. We should know soon. I think, again, bids are going in on Thursday, and I think the Saudi bid is legit. But, you know, we'll know soon. But there was some evidence that maybe Gunn and Feige were cooking up some kind of crossover, and this would be the way to do it. So, via the end of Secret Wars, maybe what they could do is take some of the old heads like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and instead of him being like, dude, this sounds kind of ridiculous, but I think it could actually be incredible. Deadpool, Wolverine, and Green Lantern. Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern. And maybe another DC character too. Let's say Henry Cavill's Superman. And they are all exiled into some crazy-ass universe together and have to overcome great evil and stop it from taking over the Omniverse or something. And I know, dude, I know. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But that actually there's some gold in them hills, man. You could cook with that. You could cook with that and potentially redeem the lanterns a bit. Like, dude, who the fuck wouldn't want to see that shit? Oh my God. Yeah, make it rated R. Go hard. You know what I mean? Go hard. I'm getting hard thinking about it. So that's pretty cool. All right. Tretier says, in my opinion, the last 3 MCU villains have been weak Both Red Hulk and Sentry killed no one, got defeated with power of friendship, and all Galactus did was walk one block and got pushed through a portal. Fair. Dude, fair. And look, Marvel should, because like, look, I would totally, the thing is, I really like the way Galactus was utilized. But even when we watched the movie again recently, we were watching it with the channel members, and I was like, yeah, this third act could use some spice. Just like, you know, like throw some spice on that shit, because it was a little lackluster, that third act. But I love the middle act, and I love him as this just presence, this like force that they're like, bro, we can't fuck with this. Like, I thought it was really cool. And then, yeah, Red Hulk and Sentry, totally agree with you. Sentry's, that's such an incredible performance, and there are moments, right? Like, there's that moment where he's kicking all the Avengers' asses and shit, and like, there's some moments, but you're absolutely right. Like, by and large, the ending, although completely satisfying from a character perspective, was lacking in Sentry action, and I do believe that at some level we all just want to see these characters beat the shit out of each other. So totally agree. And Red Hulk's probably the worst one because it was really cool, but it lasts like a second, dude. It lasts like a second. And yes, he died was put down way too quickly. So the Red Hulk one's the worst, dude. Did I ever tell you my idea, what they should have done with Red Hulk? So, and by the way, they could have connected this to the teleporter in Fantastic Four. But what I would have done is had the leader invent teleportation technology, and not only did he turn the president into the Red Hulk, but he's teleporting the Red Hulk into strategic, like international locations, and literally forcing the president of the United States to fucking decimate cities. That shit would have been cool, and then you could then connected it to the Maker or some other multiversal force or whatever. But like, think about that, dude. Why don't they fucking cook like that? Like, that would have been ballsy. And then Sam's like, what's the next target? And then fucking Red Hulk gets like teleported in, and it's like Moscow, and we're like, oh shit, he's about to big dick Moscow, and he's just like fucking him up. Anyway, sorry, but like that's what I would have done with that. And I don't know what they were doing with that movie, man. I really don't like Brave New World. But yeah. Well, hopefully they can do better. Their golden opportunity was to have the Data show up in the Pink Tree part. What? If Sadie is in Secret Wars and not Doomsday, then Brand New Day must be happening on the one world under Doom. It perhaps could be. That's kind of an interesting idea as well. Yeah. I kind of like where your head's at. How accurate is your secret about Scott Lang? Does it have to do with him going in Kang Orb thingy and having infinite inside him? What part of I don't want to talk about that shit do you not understand? I mean, I appreciate it. But at some point, I don't want to talk about it. Well, we have plenty of time to talk about that.